Welcome to the Transform My Dance Studio podcast. This week, we are delighted to be giving you exclusive access to our recent Q&A session, where Clint spoke with dance studio owners from all over the world and offered value-packed solutions and strategies to help navigate COVID-19 in your business. We hope you find this Q&A episode valuable. For more support and resources specifically for dance studio owners, please make sure to join our free Facebook group, the Dance Studio Owners Hub. Now, on to today's special episode.
Lydia, explain to me what's going on here. You have a $11,000 in, what's AR?
Accounts receivable.
Oh, sorry, accounts receivable. How do I get this money? Okay, so they can't pay you online. Are these people that generally come into the studio and pay you with a credit card or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great question. And this has been a frequent one. So firstly, I'm not going to yell at you, but please, everyone, after this, no more taking money at the studio, right? So this should be a big lesson for everyone. Everyone's on direct deposit, direct debit, everyone's on a monthly recurring charge, or they're paying you up front for the year, right? That's how we like to accept the money. So no more, here's an envelope with cash, or here's my credit card to swipe at the office. We want to make sure that everyone is paying monthly, where essentially you don't need to think about it. So how do you collect the money though? Because that's not helpful for you at the moment, Lydia. So a couple of ways for you to collect it. Firstly is I would be sending everyone, Lydia, what are you using for your software and you're a merchant at the moment?
My dance software?
Yeah.
Jackrabbit.
Okay, great. And so, really the easiest way to do this, I'm not going to get too technical, so I'm going to give you the easiest way is if you have a PayPal account, you can invoice everyone through PayPal for them to pay the fees. This is the easiest way where you don't need Stripe and a whole bunch of other stuff. Just do it through PayPal. Send everyone an invoice in PayPal, letting them know what the amount that's due and the due date. I would be texting them all, reminding them of the invoice. I would also be putting calls in as well to try and recoup as much of this as possible. Please though, make sure before as you send them the invoice, because the invoice will be sent directly through PayPal. And so what I would do is I would send an email, share, guys, we've got to be amazing communicators at this time with our customers, and we have to be honest and real with them, right? We can't be, some of you are being I've seen some emails and I'm oh my goodness, don't send that. Some of you are being very defensive. We have to remove the emotion out of our communication, but we have to be authentic in how the business is going, and continually tell them about the value they're receiving from their online classes, and reminding them that I'm sure you want a dance studio for your little Susie to come back to. Right? We have to be sharing with them that message, because I don't think parents have a lot of things going on at the moment, as all of you. I'm sure a lot of you are homeschooling your kids. You're live streaming from your living room. You're essentially running a new business. It's a startup running an online dance studio. You're working with your teachers. You're applying for loans. I mean, you guys look extremely well put together today for going through all of that stuff. But we've got to remember that parents are going through that too. Parents are going through doing the homeschooling. They're going through trying to work from home, or maybe they've been let go from their jobs. I mean, there's a lot going on. And so just be honest and open in your email to them. Don't just send them an invoice saying, hey, you owe me $80. And so you are in your right to collect the money, but in the stage that we're at, communication is everything. Communication is what makes a customer stay with you and not drop their classes and love you so much for what you're doing, right? The power of words has never been more important. We've released a couple of templates, depending on what programs you're in with us. We've released a bunch of free stuff and obviously in our paid programs as well. So utilize those templates as frameworks for you just to get an idea around how you want to communicate with your customers. But Lydia, yeah, from an acquisition, like getting the money back, PayPal is just going to be the simplest way at the moment. And PayPal are doing direct into your account, so you're not having to wait for the money, and they're not charging you for that service at the moment either.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. From the 45 students I have, only 5 are doing online lessons. They don't want to. Also, too many free online lessons are done in my country. Okay, let's dig into this, because this is what I keep hearing from people. And for me, it's just excuses, because I wonder how, we're working with so many studio owners at the moment, and like on average, more than 90% of their customers are taking online classes, right? And some of these studios have 700-800 students in them. So I don't believe that people don't want them, or they don't want to take them, or they're just doing free stuff. That's all excuses. The problem is that you probably haven't removed the friction of doing the online class for the customer. So if you're using Zoom, for example, you haven't given them a guide of how to utilize Zoom. You haven't got your customer success team or your admin team, them being able to like book quick, like 10-minute calls or group trainings on how to use Zoom. Like, you haven't made it easy for them to take an online class for you. You've just said, hey guys, go to this Zoom link. And they're like, what? Zoom? What is this? I have to download something? Exactly like you were when you first thought of Zoom. I remember when we started doing coaching on Zoom a few years ago, like every meme that is coming up now, I'm like, that was me like 3 or 4 years ago, right? Press unmute. I can't see you. No, the other button. Like, that was totally my life, right? And now you're all going through this, but you've got to educate your customers on how to utilize these platforms that you're using, because they are too busy. They do not care enough. And they'll be like, oh, this is too hard. Like, I got a password and you're making me do this and I can't do that. Like, give them the step-by-steps. I know some of our members have been running like group trainings. Like, every single day for those first 2 weeks, we had our members that every day they were just running the same live training on how to get set up, how to utilize Zoom, how to find the recordings of our classes, all of that stuff. So make sure that you are educating your customers. Educate them so you remove all the friction. Guys, if it's too hard, people are not going to do it, right? Educate them on their space. Like, what is their, how to create the best dance space if you've only got, a tiny room to do the class in, right? Again, remove the friction, because how many times have we heard, oh, our house isn't really good for dance. Like, oh, the apartment's not big enough for us to dance. Make it work. Like, you can totally make it work for them. So you want to overcome every new objection you're now getting, because those objections we got when we follow the enrollment process, oh, I need to talk to my husband. Oh, that day doesn't really work for me. Okay, they're all gone now, because we're on demand. You can watch the class whenever you want. You can come to the live stream. You can watch the pre-recording. None of those work anymore. Now we have a whole new lot of objections that we need to answer, right? So we need to come up with new answers to those things. So make any space work. We all know that we can. We've all been in those dance classes. I remember jammed into 100 people in a dance class, squished like sardines, could barely move, and we were still doing across the floor and all that sort of stuff. So it can work, but you need to be educating your customers before these objections come up, right? I'd be doing a document going, saying like, you know what, people often say that they don't have enough room to dance. But let me tell you, if you can put a dot on the ground that's like less than a meter, you can do all of our dance classes, right? So you want to educate them on these things so they read it and go, oh, cool, I can do a dance class in a small spot, right? Because they're going to keep throwing you different objections. And so, yes, in terms of the free stuff that's online, guys, you are not YouTube. You're a dance studio with incredible instructors. If you're doing live classes, they're paying for that attention. They're paying for that teacher being able to look at everyone's faces, to be able to say, hey, Susie, hey, Jessica, hey, Suzanne, how is everyone today? They're paying for that. You don't get that off YouTube, right? You don't get that from a free class. You're building we'll talk about this in a second. So that's one piece. So it's the content and the service that you're providing on the dance class, right? No one has your teachers. No one has the brand that you built. No one has the curriculum, that you're providing the way that you're providing it. Even if you're licensing a program, right? You are all very unique. But if you are not consistently telling your customers this, and not by saying, hey guys, we're unique, don't use YouTube. But if you're not utilizing this messaging and you're not sharing this with your customers, they will look elsewhere. And if people have said to you, oh, I might as well just use YouTube, it's free, you're doing something wrong, right? You haven't clearly articulated the value proposition that your current business, your online studio is providing your customers. That's on you. And so don't use that as an excuse. Get educated on how you can communicate the benefits and the features of what you're providing. So the training piece is one thing. The other piece is you've got to engage your community outside of the online class. And this will probably make you feel like you're on a treadmill because you are constantly coming up with ways to engage people. Okay, now we're doing the princess tea party. Now we're going to do the Elsa sing along. Okay, now we're going to do that disco. Now we're going to do the split competition. Now, you've got to be every week reinventing the wheel. You guys were so lucky that you had a physical location, and you still do have, we're just not using it at the moment, a physical location where people could come and interact. You have probably realized that you got to work 100 times harder when your business is online. And I love this at the moment because I'm saying to all of our members, welcome to our world. And so because we don't have the luxury of connecting in person, and so you've got to work harder to connect your groups. There's a great tool on Zoom. We have breakout rooms now. Some of you have probably used it, where you can break people out into separate groups, right? You can break people out into groups of 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so an example is with your seniors, why not have a chat and chew session where the seniors bring their dinner one night and you guys just talk about things and talk about what's their vision for their dance career and get them out of Corona and get them thinking about the future, right? Doing all of these things to engage your customers is important. I know one of our coaches and members, Hillary, she did a trivia night with her parents last week. They had heaps of fun doing that. So think about how can you engage your customers, because it's not just about you teaching an online dance class. If that's what you think it is, people will drop. People will 100% pull out of your classes. If you think it's just, I've got to replicate my in-person schedule online and I'm done. No, you're about 10% of the way there. I'm sorry to tell you that that's 10% of the job. The rest of the job is around communication, engagement. It's also around working with your teachers. I know some of you have had challenges with your teachers. Some of your teachers have said, I don't want to teach online. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want everyone seeing me, right? This is where you really need to become a mentor to your team members. You should be having calls every single day with your teachers, right? Group calls, checking in on them. Guys, we have to think about the mental health effect that this is having on everyone. I mean, I've been inside now for nearly 3 weeks. I live in a big apartment with 1,000 people, not in my apartment. That would be horrible, but actually in the building, right? And so I'm not feeling really comfortable to go to go down the elevators, right? I live quite high up, so I don't want to walk down the stairs either or up them. And so, so I've been inside, and so we're all adapting to a new way of working and living. And the mental health aspect is really important. So please be looking after your teachers and mentoring your teachers, and make sure though your cup is getting full as well, right? Because you're probably giving as you were before when you had your normal studio. You're giving every single day. Make sure there's a place that you can go to fill your cup up. So yeah, that's a couple of things. I know I kind of went a bit tangent, whatever on that. But yeah, just around if people are not engaging in your online lessons, guys, it's not them, it's you, right? You're doing something. You're doing something wrong, or you're missing a step in the process, right? And engagement and communication is the main one. If people aren't turning up to classes, last week I talked about this, and I was saying, like, guys, your attendance is key. You've got to be watching attendance like an absolute hawk at the moment. If someone's not coming to it, like every afternoon, every day, you should be seeing your attendance or your role and going, okay, 10 people didn't come today. We're texting them at 9 a.m. in the morning, as well as emailing them, and then we're going to call them at 11, right? Like, you have to be brutal around following up people who are not attending, because if they're not utilizing it, they're going to get rid of you. And if you are not following up, a month later, you're going to run a charge for May, and they're going to be like, I didn't even come. I never even heard from you. And you'll be like, but I sent you the email with the Zoom link. Like, that's not good enough. You've got to be on top of the communication and over communicate. When you think you've over communicated, you got to do it again, right? People are getting lost because there's so much going on at the moment. The people will appreciate you. If you're texting, like, every time there's a class, are you texting the class saying, hey guys, can't wait to see you on class. Here's the Zoom link. Right? Are you doing that consistently? Are you giving them the same link over and over and over again because they can't find it? You're like, I've put it in 100 places. How can you not find it? It still happens. Awesome, Nat. US is ahead of Australia with studios closing. How are Zoom classes going versus pre-recorded? Yeah, I love this question. This is so good. Are most doing a mix of both? Any tips? Yeah, so let me walk you through the different versions that we're seeing. So the first version we're seeing is a replication of their in-person schedule online. So their exact schedule that they were running. We have one studio at the moment. They have 850 students. They're running their exact same schedule online, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And what they're considering now is condensing some of those classes. And so there's a complete replica, just online only, with no pre-record available. So I'll give you all the options here, right? So pure live stream, no pre-record. There's also exactly the same schedule as it was in person, stream live with recordings. So those people in those classes, if they miss them, they can catch up and watch the recordings. Also, your students can keep watching the recordings. So there's a value add piece there as well. Then we have people that are doing pre-recorded only. So they're only doing pre-recorded classes. It's on demand for the parents. They're using, a lot of our Inner Circle members are using Teachable to house the content. Some people have done Google Sites, Kajabi, there's a whole bunch of places you could store it. But there's pre-recorded only. And then there's this hybrid of doing pre-recorded content every week. So they're filming content as well as doing the live stream content as well. And so it really depends in terms of which one's going to be great for all of you who are on the call. It depends how your business is set up. What we're seeing is working really well is the live stream. Full schedule or condensed. A condensed schedule can definitely work. If you are not, you don't want to be running 20 classes for, under fives and just do one class for under fives, right? And so, but you might have a ballet class, a senior ballet class with 5 kids and a intermediate ballet class with 5 kids. You could potentially combine that. Right. So just be smart around your combinations. Invite those people to come live. I will say on pricing, and I was very adamant where are we? What month is this? April? Yeah, I was very adamant in March to not change your pricing structures for April. I got very worried when I started to see people making big decisions around shifting their pricing models to pay what you want, don't pay for April. It's really tricky if you make those decisions now, because what are you going to do for May, June, July, and August if you can't go back to dance? So you can't then, are people then going to pay their regular amount for classes when you gave them already, they've already devalued the service because you've discounted it. So you've got to think in the minds of human beings, as soon as we get a discount on something, we actually devalue the service. We actually devalue the service to a certain degree. And so you want to be careful around your pricing. Now, am I opposed to you? Let's say you're running a condensed schedule and you're doing a lot of pre-recorded stuff and you had a lot of competitive kids doing like 100 classes a week and they were paying like $500 or $1,000 a month. Am I saying that you should keep that pricing model? Probably not, right? There's probably something you can do that has a nice middle ground where you're doing pre-recorded stuff, where you're getting them together in groups to rehearse together in like little squads or something. Like there's a lot of different variations that you could do there. But no, you probably wouldn't. But I am not saying to do like a $20 a month, everyone can watch whatever they want at the moment, right? We may get to a place and this is mainly for the US and Canada and the UK, you guys are about to go on break, potentially June, July, August for summer. It is probably going to make sense for you to do some type of monthly membership across the summer months to bring you income and to run a regular schedule. I'm going to do some more training on this. I'm running it with Inner Circle at the end of the month. I'll probably do something maybe in May around this because we're not at the moment yet where we can I'm not comfortable teaching you guys around membership models just yet because things are still a little uncertain around when you're going to go back. But yeah, that's kind of the different versions, Nat, that are kind of going on. And
we're doing a hybrid of the Zoom classes, the pre-recorded classes, and we had 200 classes on the timetable for the week, and we've gone down to 50. So, because a lot of our rec kids aren't returning and what have you, but we're using a site that's American, I think, called Thinkific.
Yeah,
we haven't launched it. Yeah, so I didn't know if anyone there has used it.
Thinkific's big in like the online subscription world. I mean, it's great. Thinkific, Teachable is really good. There's a bunch of them. They all essentially do the same thing.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Alrighty.
Thank you for joining us for this special podcast. To access our virtual dance studio training resources and receive continued support in the Dance Studio Owners Association, join our coaches and community at dsoa.com/join or email us at hello@dsoa.com.